Big calls for a big prize. Paul is in Swedish Lapland for the moose rut.
You go from anything from this much water to this much water, you know, 4 foot, as I found out today.
Ollie Williams tries out a Gloucestershire game shoot that's under new management, and he's overwhelmed by choice.
So I had to go with a lead on the partridge, and I managed to connect with a couple there pretty well. Then switching back to the steel when ducks came.
Simon Whitehead says how ferreting saved his life.
It's given me a focus in the hard times, the dark times, the hard times.
Robin Shetton from Cluny Country explains how Sako rifles have evolved and changed from the 75 to the new Sako 90.
Absolutely superb rifle to shoot. Lovely rifle to buy, lovely rifle to own. Shut up and pay. That's the only rule.
Competition is for Pellet-Pod airgun pellet holders. David brings you the news on the new stump, and James Marchington showcases the best hunting and shooting videos in hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain.
True wilderness is hard to come by unless you head to Swedish Lapland. In February, Paul and David were skiing, sort of, across this vast landscape covered in more than a metre of snow and minus 30 degrees. With just weeks before the snow returns, we're back. Not for capercaillie this time, but moose. From mid-Septemberish to mid-Octoberish, it's the moose rut. Some choose to hunt them with standing dogs. Others have spent years honing their skills and their nasal passages to produce moose mood music to draw them in from miles around.
So a word about young Robert. That environment is his special place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's his passion, it's his yoga, I think with terminology earlier on. It's his, yeah, he can get away from his day-to-day job and come out into the wilderness and be at one with nature, basically. Same as what we've been doing.
Field's empty.
Might well be.
Yeah.
Before we even think about hunting one, Paul needs his rifle. This time, it isn't the Swedish border force who gets in the way of his Sako 90 arriving on time. It's the airline. Thankfully, it turns up in time for our second outing.
So just for everybody.
Well, this time I got the paperwork right, and I got it imported correctly, but then lost it between the 2 flights. So it wasn't our fault this time.
No.
But we got it back, ready for this evening, so
All good then.
happy days.
All right, I'll leave you gents to it then.
Thanks, Lars. Now we'll concentrate.
The first had been a practice run, thank goodness, with Robert laying down the law. Moose have incredible hearing, so he deems some clothing too noisy, fruit bar wrappers too crunchy, camera shutters too clicky, and then there's zip etiquette.
There's a few ways. There's our way before, and then there's pulling and extending it. So rather than, yeah, sling swivels. That noise, so we took them off every time, because if you lift it up and you got that rattling, you know, you got no moose coming in or moose running away.
Every stand requires a small fire. The smoke masks our scent. A moose can come from any direction, as Robert's calls carry for miles, and they tend to come around on the wind.
So this is kind of a carpet that you use when
Lino. Yeah. It's quite good because it's waterproof.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
But it's not that nice.
No.
It would be nice to drive it like kind of birch.
Oh, yeah, traditional, but this obviously works.
Paul feels there are behavioural similarities between calling moose and muntjac.
It's in a total different scale, because you've got something that's like around 10 kilos to something that's around 500 kilos. And obviously something that's 10 kilos travels maybe 80 metres on a call, and something that's 500 kilos coming 3k, I think he was talking about. So, and then a time factor as well. So, you know, if we're going squeak and it would take, you know, a long time for a muntjac call. I think it's probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That'd be a long time to wait and call in a certain area before I move on again. And whereas this, you know, we're staying, you know, 3 hours, 4 hours with it, putting out some big blasting calls and then gently reducing it, and then different male and female and interaction, and yeah, listening for that twig break, and yeah, it's great learning curve, great to see again a different way of hunting, the passion of somebody got so, you know, so patient. He is Robert is so patient.
You might not choose to use a 300 Win Mag on a munty, but that's what Paul has chosen for moose. The Sako blade bullets are home-loaded and should pack a serious punch. They certainly sound punchy when he checks zero at a local range.
These are the Powerhead blades. There's actually no bullet data on setting it up for 300 Win Mag, so the guy that I used to do a lot of my reloading, we had to sit down and work out what load was going to make them work for this. Yeah, group really well. About inch high at 100. Yeah, no problem. Well, it dropped the moose, didn't it, on the Finnish Sako trip last year on the spot. That was a 308 with 162 grain power blade, so should be. Yeah.
We have 4 days to hunt a bull moose, 2 outings a day. Up at 4, back at 11, out at 3, back at about 7:30, then sauna, a delicious moose meat creation, then bed. Hunt, eat, sauna, sleep, repeat.
It's just hard, very hard. Get up at 4, you're marching out 3k, say roughly, out to the middle of the marsh in pitch black, and you can go from anything from this much water to this much water, you know, 4 foot, as I found out today. Oh, flipping gross.
Just like any calling, the conditions have to be right, and they're not. It takes 4 outings before we get a moose sighting. A large female strides effortlessly across the wetland just shy of 400 metres away from us. Robert's efforts are ignored. She has ideas of her own as we hear a faint reaction to Robert's call in the forest she's heading for. And that's where we plan to set up in the morning. The morning promises a lot. There's a definite fizzle in the air. Patience is key, but sometimes the weight gets the better of you. Paul offers up a Jeff Garrett impression using some hanging moss.
Pigeon shooting, Jeff Garrett.
Uncanny. Then through the mist, there's movement. Robert tells Paul to head to the edge of the trees. It's another female. She's off. Even though Robert is calling his heart out, the conditions are not rut-friendly. The wetlands are of course wet, but wetter than normal. We want clear, close to freezing conditions, and it's between 7 and 10 degrees.
You can come at that optimum time, but you know, the weather changes. They've had a lot of rain. Robert last week, I think he said he shot 3 moose last week on the call in 3 days. It's like literally just come in super cool, on the call, reacted well, but he's had to, you know, really work for this so far. So he's yeah, he's good.
To add insult to injury, we have a moose encounter right next to where we're staying, which is actually on a main road. David is interviewing Paul when they stop because of a barking dog.
Yeah, it totally is. You know, you've got the big marsh plains where you... Moose in there. I'll have the words. Could be. Oh yeah, on the road.
So you broke off our interview then? We heard the dog was interrupting you.
Yeah, and he's actually on a bull moose. I went down to the road and he just sounded exactly the same as it was last year when we were on that other moose. And I walked back away, and next minute Lars and Robert come running out and said, quick, he's coming out across the road to below us. Big bull moose.
I didn't really get this shot of it.
Ah, shame.
Our last outing is full of optimism. The guys feel they've earned it. But the moose up here in the Arctic Circle have other ideas. We leave with nothing but a load of great memories and another reason to head back to this incredible region. If you would like to visit Swedish Lapland, whether it's to see Father Christmas or check out his reindeer or hunt or fish, head to Heart of Lapland for all the information you'll need. If you want to take a rifle, take a Sako 90 as they're super light and we wouldn't want the baggage handlers in Stockholm straining themselves. The full Sako 90 range can be found at sako.fi.
Thanks, Paul. Now, we gave away a Jack Pike fleece and a gilet to 2 lucky winners this week. Next week's prize draw is 10 Pellet-Pods. I'm sure we all know how annoying it is when a badly designed airgun pellet tin explodes as you open it and the contents bounce off into the grass or over the lino. RWS, you know who you are. Pellet-Pod allows you to keep your pellets in a more secure box designed for 22177 and 25. Link to its pages on Amazon, eBay, Solware and Ian Hodge Fieldsports below. It's designed and sold by Fieldsports Nation member Dennis Tilley. Easiest way to win one of 10 of them is to watch this week's Fieldsports Extra, our exclusive show for Fieldsports Nation members. Feel free to join and we'll send you a goodie box. The point of the Fieldsports Nation is to raise money for us to produce our news content and to fight Chris Packham in court. A word on that, if our legal costs are anything to go by, Chris Packham has run up £150,000 with his lawyers and we estimate has another £10,000 bill this week unless he settles with us. So let's see whether he does. Thanks to support from the Fieldsports Nation, we are ever closer to our target of £60,000 for our lawyers, including nearly £10,000 raised from our Poke Packham auction. Thanks to everyone who provided lots and who bid on lots. I'd be interested in knowing Packham's view on our auction that the longer he keeps up his legal attack on us, the more shooting we sell. I expect he will carry on calling us psychopaths and doling out his hatred of us, and we'll be confident that more shooting means more conservation, so both sides will be happy. Now from a man who only thinks of himself, to David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This Fieldsports Channel News. An onslaught of new legislation is affecting the well-being of Scotland's gamekeeping community. That's the view of the Scottish Gamekeepers Association. New rules on deer management, snares and grouse moor management have left Scotland's countryside community reeling. The SGA says that the Scottish Government is acting in opposition to hundreds of years of tradition, adversely affecting employment and the mental health of thousands. It says its 5,300 members are sick of being ignored in so-called consultations and that their morale is at an all-time low.
It can't be sustainable, particularly when these are the type of people with exactly the right type of skills the Scottish Government is going to need in the future if they're going to deliver their targets in the countryside, whether that's for biodiversity or for climate.
Scottish land managers have acted to reverse a potential snare ban. 150 of them have signed a letter to the Scottish Government to try and stop a block on using snares to control predators. The Rural Business Association, Scottish Land and Estates, says the government is ignoring scientific evidence about the use of humane cable restraints to protect ground nesting birds and livestock. A consultation on the use of snares formed part of the debate leading to the new Wildlife Management and Muirburn Bill, which is currently going through Scotland's Parliament. Meanwhile, in Wales, the snare ban is already in operation. New legislation has come into force this week, banning the use of both snares and glue traps for predator control. Anyone caught using illegal traps can now face prosecution. The Welsh Government has been criticised for the move. Basque says ministers also ignored the science and that wildlife will suffer as a result of the ban. Police are on the trail of a buzzard killer. A third buzzard in 4 months has been found in what North Yorkshire police call suspicious circumstances in the Rosedale area of the North York Moors. An X-ray reveals that it was shot. It's now with vets. The connection between anglers catching fish and then taking them for the table needs to remain. That's the view of both competitors and a game dealer who's been working with competition anglers for the last 20 years. Anglers fishing in the recent Airflow Open Championship at Rutland Water kill all their catch, a maximum of 8 fish each. The fish are then sold on for charity to local game dealer Leo Hunt. From next year, though, anglers will only kill their first 2 fish while employing catch and release on the rest of their bag. Leo believes it's important the link between catching fish and eating them remains.
It's coming straight out of the water, isn't it? I'm collecting it now and it'll be on the table sometime tomorrow for a lot of people. I take it back to retail outlets where it's all cleaned up, processed or whatever we need to do with it. So yeah, I feel it's very important. It preserves the stocks.
And you'll hear more about the story surrounding that competition on Fieldsports Britain in a few weeks' time. Meanwhile, hunting in Spain is about to get a digital boost. Hunty is a search engine based in Valencia which helps to connect hunters to hunting adventures in Spain. It has just won €1.2 million funding from investors as a startup. It says it hopes the cash will help the company revolutionise the hunting sector. At the same time, Spain passed a range of animal rights laws, including a ban on pet shops and mandatory training for pet owners, though the laws do not include gun dogs, hounds or bullfighting. Countryside organisations are already planning for Labour winning power in the next general election. The Countryside Alliance has told the party it must reconnect with rural voters to be taken seriously when campaigning begins for the general election, which is expected next year. At the last election, Labour won just 1 in 5 votes in rural areas. Labour has told the CA it has targeted 150 seats it needs to win to take control of the government, with 50 of them in significantly rural areas. Bluefin tuna researchers were surprised to find that one of the fish they were tracking was heading up the M5 and M6. The answer came in the form of holidaymaker Brian Shuttleworth, who found the tracking device while on holiday in Cornwall. It had fallen off its tuna. BBC radio stations helped track down Brian, who lives in Lancashire, and returned the device to Exeter University. The Nordic Safari Club has released a powerful film about the fate of a family of elephants. The club has been trying to give away the elephants for more than 9 months, asking animal rights celebrities who campaign against hunting if they would put up the money to find the animals suitable habitat. The elephants have now been culled because nobody has room for more elephants in southern Africa. Animal rights NGOs came to the area to view the elephants.
They even sent people here to see the elephants, saying that they wanted the elephants. And when they saw them, and it wasn't a bluff, they went quiet. They harassed the owner of the area, giving him phone calls in the middle of the night. And when he put to them, all you need to do is take these elephants and show us your alternatives. They all went quiet. And they all knew that the alternative for this area was to cull the elephants because there's too many elephants here.
And finally, the human voice is scarier to wildlife than a lion's roar. That's one of the findings by scientists who studied animals in the southern African savannah. They tested the reaction of prey, including both giraffes and impala, to both the roar of a lion and to a human voice. Scientists from Western University in Ontario say the study shows humans are now the planet's super predator. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Next, Ollie Williams has a big day in Gloucestershire. This is grand old British driven shooting, as Gloucestershire knows how to show. Safety briefing? Check. Fleets of cars head to first drive? Check. Champagne in serried ranks assembled? Check. Dogs on best behaviour? Check. Imagine being a gun who doesn't know the drive started.
Sorry. Well, sorry, we're already well into it. You sit down. Stay. Right, so
what's going to happen today? Where are we?
we're here at Brimpsfield Park with Ben from Brewer and Game Spice. He's taken on the shoot this year because he had such success with his home shoot. We're on the first drive on peg 4s, which is actually drawn a good peg, which is rare. Most significantly, I'm using steel, all steel, for the first time, and it's Ely VIP steel because there are ducks on this shoot and I don't want to be swapping and changing in the middle of the drive, so I've just thought this is going to be my first all steel day. So
everybody's looking at you and they're looking at that beautiful gun and they're going, are you mad?
Well, this is a William Powell Sovereign, which is, for all intents and purposes, bulletproof. Well, of course it's bulletproof, but steel proof. You can basically put any cartridge through it. It's essentially an over and under high pressure, high performance steel proofed.
Side by side.
Except it's a gorgeous looking side by side, not one of these horrible upside down guns.
Ollie making friends and influencing over and under owners everywhere. It is a big day. It has to be, as shoot organiser Ben explains.
So at Brimpsfield Park we're actually minimum size days of 300s because of our overheads and things like this. However, we are able to put on slightly smaller days at home, so you can still shoot with us and you can come for a very enjoyable day with great hospitality.
The nibbles are indeed the finest. The shooting speaks for itself. This is Gloucestershire, the spiritual home of luxury. Several of the guns and Ben are using SWATCOM intercom headphones which protect their ears from the bangs as well.
I push my button and I can talk to any of my keepers out there or any of the beaters and the beating side, and we're just plugged into the back of my ears and then it comes straight through my ear defenders. And if Ollie was to have made a shot here now and I'm talking, it would have been noise excluding to anybody else because that would be quite loud into their ears as well.
Ollie admits he is moving backwards and forwards from steel to lead.
Anyway, so I had to go with the lead on the partridges, and I managed to connect with a couple there pretty well. Then switching back to the steel when ducks came, and I hit a couple of pheasants, but then the one I hit here, it was a hen bird. You saw the body hit, and then it went on.
You're not trusting steel. That's
No,
the problem, isn't
no,
it?
I'm not.
It's where the confidence is and where the confidence lies, and you know you can do it with lead because you've done it with lead for such a long time.
Brimpsfield Park Estate is a friendly shoot.
Do you love all your dogs?
Yeah,
There are guns here with whole entourages of family members. It's a day out for everyone, though one spectator has a shock.
Oh, I've just been smacked in the eye by a pheasant.
Go on, show us the blood.
Evidence!
The gun, her son, owns up.
Didn't mean to do it, but she should have been paying attention, I suppose. But
Ruthless sport, game shooting. By the time it comes to a predominantly duck drive, Ollie is back on the steel and shooting better.
Good shot, Ollie. Great.
It's a perfect balance of duck and game, because the duck, here we go. just a perfect balance of everything really. And I'm using steel and trying to figure out the mark. And it's more lead than lead. You have to pull through more. Here's a good partridge.
Ollie, Ollie, Ollie.
It's not just Ollie who's enjoying himself. This gun prefers shooting in Gloucestershire to his native Essex.
Better birds, better hospitality, and just a better day shooting, really.
Last drive is mainly a duck drive, with guns standing on pontoons on the ponds. One of the pleasures of Brimpsfield is that it's never just duck or just pheasants or just partridges. Every drive is mixed.
It just summed up the drive was the fact that I had a massive smile on my face. Both guns either side of me had a smile on their face, and most importantly, he had a smile on his face. And that's so it's getting, in a weird way, it's getting rarer and rarer when you see the host actually enjoying a drive and watching it himself. So,
I don't know.
I mean, that's hats off.
Preparation's key in all of this. If the prep's done right, performance is done right, and the boys up top, all the beating line, Nick, Will, they've worked their absolute socks off this season, because obviously we didn't take the estate on, we didn't even sign a lease till start of May. So to do everything which we've done, I mean putting these lovely pontoons across the water to just bring you back enough so you can actually shoot the real good ones off the top of there, because there was some partridge coming over there, and I mean they weren't even trying, and they were sort of 55 yard up. I know, yeah.
There's still a lot of leaf on this tree.
Still a lot of leaf. When that comes off, and we send them from a bit further back, I mean there's still bloody birds coming off the banking now. We had, I think it was about 13 beaters, 4 pickers up. My old man, bless him, he was on the game kite. 4th or 5th day, and I've actually lost count because I've had nearly 30 days in the field already.
This drive in particular, it is probably close to one of the most enjoyable drives, just for the variety and the setting.
For more about Ely cartridges and Ben's sporting agency Bruin Game Supplies, there are links in the description below. Thanks Ollie and Ben for providing the day. Next, our podcast this week looks at how ferreting is good for you. Back in July, I put top ferreter Simon Whitehead on the couch at the Cartagena Game Fair Theatre. It's the rabbits and the ferrets that shine through. It's the rabbits and the ferrets.
Saved me life. Okay. Rabbiting has saved me life.
How?
It's given me a focus in the hard times, the dark times, the hard times. It gives you that glimpse of that light at the end of the tunnel, and it made me realise that I am in a privileged position. You know, I can know lots of people, I can get to lots of areas, I can do lots of things, but you've made it happen, and it's the ferrets and the dogs that have made that happen, not me, because at the end of the day, in the real world, I'm only as good as them animals to do my job. Without doing my job, I can't do the media job.
Thanks, Simon, and thanks to the British Shooting Show for supporting our podcasts. Link to the full episode below. Next, and developing a theme started by Paul Childerley in Lapland, what's the difference between a Sako now and a Sako then?
Okay, Robert, so you know a lot about Sakos apparently, so just tell me what the differences are. What have you spotted?
Differences are just a progression, just the evolution of what's an excellent rifle. Yes, I shot a 75, great rifle, put 3 bullets into my thumbnail at 180 every time, knew I was going to do it, typical Sako. That's what you're getting, is quality with them. 75 to the 85, they did away with the locking bolt, they locked the magazine in, there's various things they did. 85 to the 90, same progression, same idea. To look at the two rifles, there's an 80, there's a Finlight 85, lovely rifle, really nice rifle. This is now the Finlight 90, except it's not a Finlight anymore, it is called an Adventure. They've named their rifles, why? Marketing, no bloody idea, but look, that's just what happens. Differences on the rifle, improvements. It's got a permanent Picatinny rail. I think that's brilliant. They bring the top slightly further over, strengthens the action and gives it a permanent Picatinny rail. Still with the grooved, if you want to go the other ways, the difference is that it's the Tikka 17mm groove, not the old V'd Sako grooves. There are other differences on the rifle. Some will be regarded as relevant, some not relevant. Magazine still locks in, you have to push it so it can't come out accidentally. Good feature. Not that I ever dropped the magazine out of my 75, but hey, some folk have had trouble with that. The trigger itself can be moved, the position of the trigger can be moved, it can go forward and back as in shotguns. So again, not something I've ever really wanted, but there's plenty of people do. If you've got a smaller hand or great big long fingers, useful thing. And the other big thing is that you can alter the trigger pressure very easily on these. Dead simple, straight through there, and there's a screw. So you set the trigger weight to what you want. Other than that, you're buying Sako quality. Top quality rifles in all their guises. They've altered the twist rate on their new rifles slightly, and that's to take into account copper or non-toxic ammunition. So the twist rates on them are slightly different. There's a plunger assist on it which gives you a smoother feed, and it has a double pin ejector. There are differences on it. Other than that, it's the same rifle, same quality, top quality. Still do a carbon, superb, absolutely beautiful material. Expensive, there's no getting away from it, but then the material is expensive. It's very, very light. If you want super light, you've got to go one of these, but it comes at a price. I was scared with the first ones of these that the recoil would be more, that you would get belted because there's less rifle there. Not true at all. The carbon fibre distorts and goes back into its shape. It's absolutely fantastic. So no big recoil off them and no weight. Superb, but it comes at a price. Got the same Picatinny rail, got the same 17mm, got all the features, got all the new features. Really, really good, but ouch on the price. Well, no, ouch is the wrong word, but
No, you're doing well. You're known for your honesty, Robin. Keep going.
Yeah, well, I do blunt is the bad news, so you'll get it the way it is. If you're target shooting, monster, superb. Laminate stock, never used to like them, but now I really like them. Great answer, because wood is going. Wood's getting too hard to get and it's getting too expensive. Laminate, like it or not like it, fantastically strong, never bends, warps or anything. That's where the synthetic stocks come in as well. Doesn't mark, and actually looks quite flashy. Heavy, solid, heavy barreled on this one. Out and out target rifle, you wouldn't walk up a hill with this. How good are these rifles? Absolutely bloody superb if you want a short and quick answer. There have been people, I've had it said to me that they've marked their Swarovski scope or they've marked whatever is on top because the ejection port on this, on the 85 and the 75, can sometimes ping the bullet out too high and it hits the case of hits the tube of the scope. By closing this in a bit more and putting double plungers on it, it throws it out to the side, so there is never again going to be a strike going up the wave with the empty case, the ejected case hitting the scope. Now, that's never happened to me, but the fact is it has happened to some people, so they've dealt with it. For me, the Picatinny rail blocks on top of this is a huge step forward. I'm a big fan now of Picatinny rails. You can put anything on them. It's a lovely, lovely mounting system, and I'm scared to say it, but it's better than the old Sako V-shaped rail. I never understood why Sako put the V-shaped rail, and it's been on their rifles forever. And the Tikkas had the parallel ones. Now they've gone to the Tikka parallel and the Picatinny, big step forward. Same basic rifle, lovely rifle, adjustable combs on them, superb rifle to shoot. Absolutely superb rifle to shoot. Lovely rifle to buy, lovely rifle to own. Shut up and pay, that's the only rule.
Thanks, Robin. Now, from rifles to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, brought to you by James Marchington. It's Hunting YouTube.
This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. First up this week, with the pheasant season underway, here's a lovely film from TGS Outdoors, showcasing Beater's Day at the Downlands Estate. What was life like for a professional hunter in 18th century America? This video looks at the hardships and dangers and cooks up the sort of meal a hunter might have enjoyed by the campfire. Next, crossbow hunting in the States, and Carson from Hats Off Outdoors takes his girlfriend to his cabin in the woods to hunt her first deer. Meanwhile in Africa, Jessica, an American couple, are out with East Cape bushveld hunting on an unforgettable Cape buffalo hunt earlier this year. Back to the UK, and here's a relatively new clay shooting channel featuring a lively small clay club in the West Country. It's proper grassroots stuff and everyone has plenty of fun. Next, Yorkshire Fieldsports is out with ferrets and dogs doing rabbit control the old-fashioned way in glorious scenery and making an impressive bag. Finally this week, a couple of fishing videos. This one is the official film of the 2023 Orvis Saltwater Fly Fishing Festival, presented by Fieldsports Channel's Andy Ford. And Fish with Carl discovers a forgotten lake that used to hold huge pike. He hooks a small one, and as he reels it in, something takes a huge bite out of it. Could it be one of the legendary monsters? That's it for this week. We've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the eye symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you'd like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email Charlie the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv.
And that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please whiz over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv. You can click to like us there on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, pop your email address into our register page and we'll contact you about this show, Fieldsports Britain. It's at 7 PM UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.